too high. What's up, everybody? Bad Tracy for Punk Rock Blues, back doing another Drunk Explained. This time it's for Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze. It's from 1989, I think. Or 88 or 90. One of those years. So I saw Roadhouse for the first time like last week on Netflix. I'd never seen it before, and it's a bad movie, but oh my god, I fucking love it. I wanted to watch it again, so I was like, I'm gonna do a Drunk Explain. So that's what we're doing now, because I watched it again. Alright, so the movie opens at like a swanky New York City bar, and there's like a chick at the bar or whatever, and this dude comes over and he's like harassing this chick. Well, then Patrick Swayze walks over, he breaks it up, and the dude tries to like fight Patrick Swayze, and Patrick Swayze is like, let's take it outside. And they go outside, and the dude's like, alright, Dalton, I think I can take you. And Patrick Swayze, he plays Dalton, he just turns around and walks back in the bar. Because he's like, oh, the dude's already outside, don't have to fight. Then Tillman shows up. He's played by Kevin Tiggy. He shows up and he's like, yo, Dalton, I got a bunch of money. I own this bar in like Missouri or Mississippi, and I'm gonna renovate it, and I want to get all the trouble out of there. I want this bar to be like brand new. I'm gonna hire you, Dalton, because you are the best. He invites Patrick Swayze, Dalton, to work at the Double Deuce, and that's his bar. And Dalton's like, I want $5,000 up front, $500 a night, plus all medical expenses paid. That's a hell of a deal. Even like today's money standards, that's a hell of a deal. That's a lot of money. Basically, he just quits on his his current boss. He's just like, hey, I'm out of here.
By the way, Oscar, bandstand's all yours.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm out of here.
And then right as Tillman's about to leave, he just goes, thought you'd be bigger.
You know, I thought you'd be bigger.
So then Dalton shows up. He has like a beater ass car, and he like shows up parking on the curb, and there's like a dude sitting there on the curb, and he just like tosses the keys to him. And he's like, "Hey, this car's yours now. I'm Dalton."
Yo.
What I look like, a valet?
Keep it, it's yours.
Then it's revealed that he has a BMW, which I'm sure was really nice for the 90s or 80s standards, but this is a dumb-looking car by today's standards. Then he pops in a cassette, and he's on the road again, off to the Double Deuce. Alright, so Dalton gets to the Double Deuce, and he walks in, and it's just like the trashiest dive bar you've ever fucking seen. Like, there's just people getting into fights over nothing. There's dudes literally sexually harassing women. Women are just taking their tits out everywhere. There's a band that plays, the singer's blind, and they're behind like the chicken wire fence, kind of like the Blues Brothers, and people are throwing bottles and shit, and just a madhouse in there. And so Dalton's kind of just like waiting by the bar, watching all this shit go down. Basically, there's this chick who is like standing by the bar, and this dude walks up to her and says, how about you and I get nipple to nipple? To which she responds, I can do that without you.
You say you and me get nipple to nipple.
I can do that without you.
What the hell does that mean? How can you get nipple to nipple without someone else? Like, stupid line in this movie. Well, then we get introduced to Carrie Ann. She is like... maybe you're supposed to think she's the love interest when she first gets introduced, but really she plays no part in this movie, besides a couple of parts that we'll talk about. But anyway, so she introduces herself to Dalton, and I thought this was a really funny line. It's kind of like Dalton's an asshole. She goes, you got a name? And Dalton responds, yeah.
You got a name?
Yeah?
Well, what is it?
Then he tells her that his name's Dalton, and she's like, oh my god, it's Dalton. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Shit, I heard of you.
She's like telling all the other bartenders, like that. She's like, oh my god, that's Dalton. Like, and everybody somehow knows who Dalton is, even though he's just a bouncer. He's known nationwide. And then the one bartender like gives some beers to Carrie Ann. He's like, get these fucking drinks out. And it is the worst pour beer I've ever seen. It's like half foam, half beer. I wouldn't drink that shit if it was served to me. And you shouldn't be serving that. You work at a bar. It's bad pour. There's a really funny scene here where Tillman, he's arriving at the Double Deuce, and like wrote on the wall in a Sharpie, it says, for a great fuck, call this number, you know? And he takes out a Sharpie from his pocket and changes it to say, for a great Buick, call this number. It's such a dumb joke. Why Buick? Oh, it's stupid. Then the blind guy singer, he's like, hey, we gotta go drain the main vein. Folks, we'll be back. And this asshole in the crowd's like, you're paid to play. You better play. And like throws some fucking bottles at him.
Be back in 10. We gotta drain the main vein, man. Stick around.
Hey, you paid to play.
And Dalton like sneaks up to the blind guy and says something like, I thought you could hear me coming, or something, I don't know. And then the blind guy responds, and I thought you'd be bigger.
So you played pretty good for a blind white boy.
Yeah, and I thought you'd be bigger.
It's a recurring thing. Then he explains how shit the Deuce is to Dalton. Like, he's just like, hey, there's blood on the fucking floor every night. People are scooping eyeballs out of the ice machine. It's fucking crazy. Carrie Ann, she's like talking about Dalton to all the bartenders, and the bartenders are all like telling stories about Dalton, and one guy's like, I once heard he pulled a dude's throat out with his bare hands. And Terry Funk, he plays like the tall bouncer dude. He's like, oh, that's bullshit, or whatever. Then there's a dude in the bar who's just like offering his wife's tits for $20. Like, you can just like grope them or kiss them or whatever for $20.
For $20, you can kiss him. Are you kidding?
This dude's like sitting there giggling about it, and his friend's like, dude, do it, come on, go do it, it's awesome, do it.
Go ahead. Do it. Go on.
He's like touching her tits, like giggling like a schoolboy, like, ah. And then the dude's like, all right, $20 or whatever, and he goes, I don't have $20. Ah.
I ain't got $20.
There's a huge bar fight. Everybody's punching each other. People are throwing shit across the bar. It keeps cutting to this one weird dude who's laughing like, it's hilarious. He finally gets something thrown in his face. Alright, so the bar fight ends. Dalton basically introduces himself to the people, and Terry Funk has the funniest line in the whole movie, because he says, I thought you had balls big enough to come in a dump truck, but I guess I was wrong.
No, I heard you had balls big enough to come in a dump truck, but you don't look like much to me.
What the hell does that mean? Anyone can come in a dump truck, regardless of their size of their balls. It's a stupid line. And I looked it up. Apparently Terry Funk just said that, like, while on set, and people thought it was so funny they put it in the movie. Makes no goddamn sense. It's a stupid line.
Story is, you fuck with him and he'll seal your fate.
Yeah, so far he hadn't shown me shit.
Anyway, so Dalton, he goes to buy a beater car from a local car dealership. Oh, and also, Dalton smokes so many cigarettes in this movie. Every fucking scene he's in, he's lighting one up. It's fucking ridiculous. So then, he buys this beater-ass car. Then he goes to rent this farmhouse from this dude, Emmett. Basically, it's like a fully renovated farmhouse with, like, modern furniture and everything. I don't know how Emmett built it with his bare hands like he said he did. Anyway, he charges Dalton $100 a month. That's fucking insane. That's crazy, because the dude gets paid $500 a night. Emmett's like, can you afford that? And Dalton's like, well, if it helps you stay in the good graces of the church, I can afford that.
You can afford that much?
If it keeps you in the good graces of the church.
Ain't it peculiar how money seems to do that very thing?
We get introduced to the villain of the piece, Brad Wesley. He flies his helicopter over Emmett's farm, scaring the horses, and Emmett's like, I think he does that just to piss me off. What a dick this Brad Wesley is. And he's such a fucking 80s villain, too. Because he's so evil and over the top for, like, seemingly no reason at all. He's just, like, a businessman who wears big suits, and he's the most evil man in town. Because he'll kill people and murder people. And he'll also do crimes. Anyway, then Dalton and Emmett, they're, like, talking about shit or whatever. And Dalton keeps calling Emmett sir. And this is a really funny line that I like. Emmett says, calling me sir is like putting an elevator in an outhouse. Don't belong.
Calling me sir is like putting an elevator in an outhouse. Don't belong.
Alright, so Dalton's first night on the job, he starts off by firing all the rowdy bartenders. He fires a chick for selling drugs in the bathroom. He fires Terry Funk because he's got anger management issues. I think those are the only two he fires at this moment. And then comes the best scene in the entire movie, the Be Nice scene. I'm sure a lot of people have seen the Be Nice scene. This scene's amazing. Dalton talking to the bartenders, telling them, if someone gets in your face, be nice to them. These are the 3 rules. Rule number 1, never underestimate your opponent. Expect the unexpected. Rule number 2, take it outside, unless it's absolutely necessary to start something inside. And then rule number 3, be nice.
And 3, be nice.
Come on.
And he says it, he's like, if someone calls you a cocksucker, be nice to him. Dalton says, just remember that it's just a job, don't take it personal. And then the dude's like, oh, we're not supposed to take it personal if someone calls you a cocksucker? And Dalton's like, no, it's just a thing to elicit a response. And then the guy goes, well, what if someone calls my mom a whore? And Dalton says, is she?
I wonder if somebody calls my mama a whore.
Is she?
Great. Oh, this scene's so good. So then it's the first night that the bar's open with Dalton as the cooler. And this lady starts dancing on a table, and he, like, you know, tells the other bouncer to go get her down. Dude ends up pulling a knife on the bouncer. Dalton shows up, smashes the dude's head into a table, whoops him ass. The one bouncer who said the thing about his mom being a whore or whatever, he sneaks off to go fuck some chick in the break room because he's on his break. And Dalton walks in while he's mid-stroke, and he's like, hey, you're fucking fired. Get out of here.
Your history.
But I'm on my break.
Then Dalton also fires Pat. He's one of the bartenders for skimming money from the drawers and also taking shots and stealing bottles and shit like that. So then we cut to Patrick Swayze is sleeping in the nude in his farmhouse apartment. Carrie Ann shows up to talk to Patrick Swayze about how he's a dead man because he fired Pat because Pat is Brad Wesley's nephew or some shit like that. Then also, at this moment, we get a full-blown Patrick Swayze ass shot. Both cheeks. 4 halves of butt. I'll tell you what, 2 halves of butt, sorry.
Shake 4 halves of butt.
Phrased weird.
Oh, it's not phrased weird at all. Shake 4 halves of butt.
Okay.
Alright, then we cut to Brad Wesley being such a fucking bad guy villain of the 80s that he's driving in his car singing like this. Like, just swerving into both lanes. Patrick Swayze's driving, nearly hits him. What a dick, right? Brad Wesley. Dalton, the whole reason Dalton bought that beater car was because his really nice BMW, which isn't nice by today's standards, it would get trashed because, like, you know, he ends fights or whatever as a bouncer. People go outside and trash his car. Like, they smash the windshield, they fucking knife his tires and all that shit. Dalton goes to Red's auto shop, meets Red from the auto store, has a little chat about the town or whatever. Then Brad shows up to collect some fees or whatever from Red for some, like, local government thing or whatever. So, Red in this movie, don't know why, he reminds me so much of Ron from Parks and Rec.
I got married to an ugly woman. Don't ever do that. It just takes the energy right out of you.
Which one of you youngsters wants to help me drain the blood from this animal?
They look so similar, it's uncanny. Alright, so then Pat, he comes back to the Double Deuce with, like, a crew of henchmen, like a really tall dude and, like, a really fat guy. And he's, like, Yo, Tillman has to rehire me. He made a mistake in firing me. I'm Brad Wesley's nephew. You're out of here, Dalton. And Dalton's like, yeah, go fuck yourself. So Pat pulls a knife. Dalton kicks Pat out the window. There's a bar fight. Pretty good one, actually. Like, a lot of people taking bumps off tables and falling out of windows and shit. It's pretty good. So Dalton, he gets cut on his side, right? So he goes to hospital where he meets Doc Clay. And she is introduced as the new love interest of the movie. And I just want to say also, by the way, we are 40 minutes into the movie by now. She's like gonna give him a shot of painkillers or whatever because he needs to get like 13 staples in his side. He turns down the painkillers and says, and then she's like, you know it's gonna hurt or whatever. And he goes, pain don't hurt. And then she's like, oh, my other patients would disagree with you.
Pain don't hurt.
Dalton also carries his medical records around with him because he's like, well, it's easy because I get hurt so much. And then for some reason, this is really silly. For some reason, in his medical records, it says that he majored in philosophy at the University of New York, the NYU or whatever.
File says you've got a degree from NYU.
Why that's in his medical records, I have no idea. Dalton's philosophical. He's always doing like Tai Chi, and he's really he talks philosophical and all that shit. He's a philosophy man, if you will. Oh, and also, Doc Clay, when he like is describing his job as a bouncer, she's like, with a job like that, I thought you'd be bigger.
You know, for that line of work, I thought you'd be bigger.
So we cut to Brad's house. He's got his 3 henchmen that were supposed to beat up Dalton at the bar, standing there, and he's like, he makes one of them apologize to him for fucking up. Then he's like, oh, don't worry, I'm not mad at you, I like you. You're a good guy.
You're a nice guy.
Then Brad beats the shit out of this guy. Then he's like, he picks him up out of the ground, he's like, don't worry, you're fine, I like you. Then he punches him again. Then he tells the other henchman to get rid of that guy because he's a coward. Brad Wesley, being a fucking dick. So then Dalton goes back to Red's auto shop. It's been torn up by Earring henchmen and some other dude. Don't remember who it is. They tore the place up and get out of there. Dalton learns that Red and all the other townsfolk have been paying Brad Wesley 10% from all their income, basically from everything. So Brad Wesley's getting rich off the people in this town who are getting poorer. Crazy. This guy's a villain, I tell you what. So then Dalton calls his friend Wade Garrett, the guy I mentioned earlier in the movie. It's played by Sam Elliott. And this phone call, I understand why it's in here. It's the introduction of Sam Elliott's character. Has nothing to do with the movie. Literally, there's no point to this call. Dalton calls him. They say hello to each other. Then they're like, yeah, we both still work at bars. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Then a fight ensues behind Sam Elliott. And he's like, listen, Patrick Swayze, I gotta go. And he hangs up. That's the whole call. It has nothing to do with the plot. Doesn't advance the story at all. It's just kind of a scene.
This place has a sign hanging over the urinal that says, don't eat the big white men.
We're back at the Double Deuce. 4 guys show up to cause him trouble. One guy has a blade on the tip of his boot. Goes to kick Dalton with it. Dalton catches it, snaps his fucking ankle, breaking it or whatever.
Drinking and having a good time.
Well, that's why we're here.
You're too stupid to have a good time.
Throws the dude to the ground, grabs him by the ankle, drags him outside. Rule number 2, take it outside. Takes him outside, beats that guy up, right? We get another bar fight. That's right, folks. Another bar fight. Because this movie's just one long bar fight. This one's pretty good. It's a really quick fight, but I like it because they're all outside, and it's like 4 bouncers versus these 4 henchmen, and they really just lay into him with some heavy punches and sends them out of there. The Doc Clay, she shows up to the Double Deuce. She asks Dalton out. They go on a date, and she makes fun of Dalton for being such a nice guy. Anyway, then she drives Dalton back off the Double Deuce, and his car's smashed up again. There's like a stop sign thrown through his passenger side window. His tires are slashed again. It's a recurring joke in this movie, I guess, that his car gets smashed up all the time. And then they kiss. And then some henchmen, they pick up Dalton. He's like sleeping on the hood of his car in like a field. They pick him up, take him to Brad's house. Yeah, Brad also beats his girlfriend because they show her with bruises all over her face. Such a bad dude. She's listening to music while doing like yoga. Brad Wesley screams at her to turn that shit off because he hates pop music from the 80s. Because this guy's irredeemably bad in every way. Brad tells Dalton that he owns the town, and Dalton's like, you get rich off the people in this town while they get poor. Brad Wesley's like, God damn right I am. And Brad brings up how Dalton murdered a guy in the past.
Tells me you killed a man down there. Tells me you said it was self-defense at the trial.
He's like, yeah, you said it was self-defense at the trial or whatever, but blah, blah, blah. And he tries to bribe Dalton into working for him, and Dalton's like, there's no money on earth, no amount of money that I would work for you, Brad Wesley, you dickhead.
How much would it take to get you to come work for me?
There's no amount of money.
Cut back to the Double Deuce, where Tillman and Dalton are talking about how no alcohol suppliers will supply alcohol or booze to the Double Deuce at all, because Brad Wesley somehow got all the suppliers in the nation to not supply booze to them. Dalton goes, don't worry, I'll take care of this. Ernie, hand me the phone. Keith David, out of fucking nowhere in the background, hands the phone to Patrick Swayze. Keith David, fourth build in this movie, has one line of dialogue.
Ernie, give me the phone. I'll take care of it.
Very rarely see him in the background of some shots. It's weird that he's fourth build. And Doc shows up. She takes Dalton back to the farm, the farmhouse, where they nutted 3 times, then they bashed, then they bounced.
Nutted 3 times and we bashed and I bounced.
A whole bunch of nudity at this part. We learn that Doc was previously with Brad Wesley. Then she moved out of town. Brad Wesley went crazy. Patrick Swayze is like, oh man. Then we get Wade Garrett. He rolls up on a motorcycle looking all badass because it's Sam Elliott on a motorcycle. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, this movie is a lot like a Western movie because Dalton, Patrick Swayze's character, basically just a drifter who comes into town to fight the bad guy and then leave. And the whole movie, like, it's all shot like a Western and everything, and it follows the same archetypes and story types and everything. It's basically just a Western movie. Sam Elliott's character shows out, Wade Garrett, and this is a pretty funny line. He looks at the Double Deuce sign, and he goes, the Double Douche?
The Double Douche.
Like, he pronounces it wrong, so I guess his character can't read very well. Alright, so then a truck shows up, and it's delivering the booze to the Double Deuce. Well, then 3 of Brad Wesley's henchmen show up, and they're like, no, put the fucking booze back on the truck, and they're like breaking bottles and smashing boxes of booze, and then they start beating Dalton up, and they're like holding him against the wall, punching him in the stomach. So then Wade Garrett walks into the Double Deuce, and he's like, hey, where's Dalton? And they're like, Dalton's out back. He walks out back, he's getting beat up by the henchmen. So then Wade steps in, and he beats up the henchman.
Damn, that hurts, doesn't it?
And throws one guy off of, like, the porch, I guess it's what it's, like a deck type thing. Terry Funk takes a sick bump straight onto wood. Looks like it hurt, but Terry Funk's fucking crazy, so... Then, basically, Dalton takes Wade to introduce him to Doc, his new girlfriend. Sam Elliott's character, Wade Garrett, dances with Sam Elliott and is, like, showing off some of his scars. And one scar he has is, like, right below his stomach or his abdomen. And we see Sam Elliott's pubes. Full bush. It's majestic. And while Doc is dancing by herself, Dalton and Wade, they talk about Memphis, where Dalton, in his past, slept with some chick who lied about having a husband. The husband pulled a gun on Dalton, and Dalton killed the guy by ripping his throat out. Dalton murdered someone. So then we cut to the Double Deuce. They're having a good night. The band's playing. You know, it's packed to the gills of people. Holy shit, Red's fucking auto shop place is set ablaze. It's on fire and it fucking explodes. It's crazy. After the fire gets put out, we go back to the Double Deuce. Who is there? It's fucking Brad Wesley. He's bragging about burning down Red's place. He's like, hey, blind fucker, play some fucking rock and roll music, you dumbass Elvis Presley looking blind guy. And Brad Wesley's girlfriend, you know, the one he beat earlier, She starts dancing and stripping on stage. Dalton goes to get her down. She forces herself upon Dalton and forcibly kisses him. He throws her out. And the earring henchman shows up again. I think his name's Jimmy. He shows up. 3 of the bouncers are gonna fight him. He grabs a pool stick, beats up the 3 bouncers. Dalton steps in. Him and the earring guy are having a brawl. Brad shoots his fucking gun in the air and ends the fight. Tells Dalton, "That's it, man. This is not gonna work. You need to get out of town, you dick." Basically, we cut to a town meeting where it's like Red, Dalton, the car dealership guy, Tillman, and Emmett. And they're all like, this town wants Brad Wesley gone. We gotta do something about it. We cut to the car dealership guy at the car dealership. Brad Wesley's trying to collect the fees. The car dealership guy's like, "I don't want to pay you anymore." Brad Wesley sends a fucking monster truck through the car dealership, like smashing through the windows, driving over all the cars, flattening them. And then he says, "This is my town, don't you forget it." Wow. Wow. We cut to Dalton's at his farmhouse, like punching on a fucking beanbag thing. Not a beanbag thing, a body thing. What? Punching bag. I was so close the first time, and I felt like I got so far away by the third time. So he's punching on a punching bag. Wade Garrett shows up, and he tries to convince Dalton to leave. And Dalton's like, "You can leave anytime you want. Just get the fuck out of town, you."
You can leave anytime you want to.
And Wade's like, "You know what? I ought to stop telling you what to do, and I ought to kick your ass." And Dalton takes a swing at Brad Garrett. Not Brad Garrett, Wade Garrett. He takes a swing at actor Brad Garrett. And Wade goes, boom, catches his fist like this. And he's like, "We don't want to do this."
Maybe I ought to kick your ass.
We
don't want to do this.
Then Doc shows up, and she tries to talk Dalton into leaving. Dalton goes on this tirade about how he's like, "I'm not leaving. I'm taking Brad Wesley down." And this is his exact quote. He said, "Wesley picked me, and when he did, he fucked up."
Brad Wesley picked me, and when he did, he fucked up.
That's right, Patrick Swayze. You're gonna beat Brad Wesley down like a bitch he is. Then Emmett's farmhouse explodes out of nowhere. Like right in the middle of this conversation, just fucking explodes.
Well, who's gonna save him from you?
Emmett survives thanks to Dalton. He runs into the fire, carries him out. It explodes again. Dalton sees earring guy driving away on a motorcycle. He's behind it. He started the Blaze Bailey from Iron Maiden. Dalton gives chase, and this is a really sick stunt. Like, the dude's on a motorcycle driving, Dalton's sprinting shirtless, and jumps off like a hill and tackles the dude off his motorcycle. Really sick stunt, looks super cool. Fun fact, it's a practical stunt. They filmed it like 30 times, and they actually, by the time that they got the shot, Patrick Swayze, they had to keep putting makeup all over his ribs and shit, because he kept getting bruised up from taking all the bumps that he did while performing the stunt. So pretty cool, that's a real stunt.
You okay, bro?
Stunts! We get a fight. It's a big old brawl between Dalton and the earring guy. A lot of punches. Dalton, does his fucking Tai Chi, Kung Fu shit, karate guy. Jimmy's more of just like a punch you and kick you in the face kind of guy. This, I think, is my all-time favorite part of this whole movie. Earring guy, he gets Dalton into a chokehold like this. He's holding him. He cinches it tighter, and he whispers into Dalton's ear, "I used to fuck guys like you in prison."
I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
Out of nowhere, there's no dialogue ahead of this. There's no leading into it. There's nothing about this. He just says that out of nowhere. Why are you telling Patrick Swayze this? He doesn't give a shit who you fucked in prison. He pulls a gun on Dalton. Dalton kicks the gun out of his hand, beats him up some more, rips his fucking throat out with his bare hand. Dude falls into the water dead. Doc shows up. She witnessed this throat ripping out that Dalton did. Dalton feels bad. Doc just walks away. She's like, you murdered a man, and I don't like you anymore, so I'm walking away. Because that's what you do when you just witnessed a murder. You just leave the crime scene. Dalton drags earring guy's body into the water while screaming at Wesley and throwing the body into the water. Oh, it's hilarious. We cut to the next day. Brad Wesley calls the double deuce, and Dalton picks up, and Wesley's like, you gotta choose Wade or Doc. Brad's like, one of them is gonna die. It's a real Dark Knight situation. Harvey Dent or Rachel Dawes.
No, not me. Why are you coming for me?
Even though this movie came out first. Did Christopher Nolan steal that from Roadhouse? Oh my god, I feel like I blew my own mind. Holy shit. Dalton's like, don't kill anyone, Brad, you're sick. Brad flips a coin, and he's like, oh, I wish you knew how this would end. Wade shows up at the bar, bloody and beaten up. And he's like, it was only 3 guys. Dalton's like, I gotta go check on Doc. You stay here, have a beer. First time I watched this, I was like, he's about to die. Why would Dalton leave him alone at a bar? He's gonna die. He goes off to hospital. He finds Doc. She's like doing x-rays, and he's like, we gotta leave. She's like, no. And he's like, okay. Just had to make sure you were safe.
I'm not going anywhere with you.
Oh, yes, you are. Let's go now.
Dalton, he returns to the Double Deuce, where he finds Wade sleeping on the bar. And he's like, hey, man, I said you could have 1 beer. Not fucking 100 beers, you fucking drunk. When he rolls Wade over, boom, right in his fucking gut is a knife. And it says the coin was tails or something like that.
I said 1 beer, senor.
Wade is dead. Sam Elliott was stabbed in the fucking kidneys and he's dead. So sad. Because Dalton pulls the knife out of Wade, which this is a really silly shot, I think, because it takes him. He's like. Then we get like a shot of like blood trickling down his arm or whatever. It's so fucking silly, I think. Well, then we see Dalton outside carrying the knife, and there's no blood on the knife. So either they just forgot about that, or he wiped off the blood, which I guess in real life you would do, but who knows? This is a weird movie, so I thought I'd mention it. We cut to Brad Wesley's house. There's a bunch of henchmen waiting in the fucking driveway with like shotguns and machine guns and shit. Terry Funk standing there. I never realized Terry Funk was so fucking tall until I see him standing next to the other henchmen, and they come up to like his fucking nipples. Also, Terry Funk is wearing the weirdest fucking cowboy boots I've ever goddamn seen in this movie. They're like bright white but with like laces on the front. They look so goofy. I've never seen anything like them. Dalton's BMW is driving up to the scene, right? And all the henchmen are like, oh shit, it's Dalton, he's here. They start he goes off the fucking hedges, does a sick flip in the air, explodes midair. The car explodes, lands on the air. It's a ball of fucking flames. The henchmen all run over to see if Dalton's still alive. One guy, the car was just literally on fire, and he just grabs the door handle, opens it. That shit, you've seen Home Alone, right? I guess Home Alone came after this. You touch a handle that's on fire, it's fucking hot. Don't touch it. And this guy just touches it. Why the fuck would Dalton be in the car? It fucking exploded twice. No one would survive that. The knife that stabbed Wade is stuck to the gas pedal. That's how it was accelerating. The one dude takes the knife out, puts it back in his knife thing. The henchmen are going into the house because they're like, Dalton's gonna be here or whatever. They find one dead guy. Then Dalton sneaks into the house and he starts beating fucking henchmen up left and right. Wailing on him, right? He takes the knife from the tall henchman, he stabs him in the stomach like this, and he goes, tails again.
Tails again.
It's a callback, because Wade died because of tails. Well then, just as he stabs that guy, fucking Pat, the bartender that got fired earlier in the movie, he like shoots a shotgun down at Patrick Swayze, but he swings the guy he stabbed like this, and The dead guy takes the shotgun shells and he throws the dead guy, and then he throws the knife at Pat, sticks Pat. Pat falls over the fucking railing and he's dead. Then Brad Wesley shows up with a gun. He's like screaming at Dalton about how, oh, I killed one guy, Wade Garrett. You killed all my men or whatever.
Hell, you took all my boys.
It cuts to the fat henchman again, and the fat guy, he looks so silly with the gun. He's, Brad, he's even more evil, because we find out he has a trophy room where he has shot and killed literally every animal in fucking existence. He's got hyenas, he's got bears, he's got deer, he's got moose, he's got fucking monkeys and squirrels and birds and bears and shit.
You found my trophy room, Dalton. The only thing that's missing is your ass.
Every fucking animal you can think of, this guy is murdered and stuffed in his fucking house. So he's the most evil villain of the 80s, I say. Dalton knocks the polar bear over on the fat guy. Fat guy, as the polar bear is falling very slowly. And instead of moving out of the way like any normal person would do, fat guy just goes, ah, 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 shooting at the polar bear. It falls on him. Dalton goes, huh, you're a match made in heaven. What a dumb one-liner. Dalton goes to attack Brad. Brad shoots him in the shoulder, but then he beats up on Wesley some, takes him to the couch, and then Wesley grabs a spear, tries to throw the spear at Dalton, who dodges it. That's why I always say the spear is a fucking stupid weapon, because you throw a spear, the other person just moves out of the way. How fucking hard is it to dodge a spear? It's not a bullet that's moving 800 goddamn miles per hour. Someone Batman tried to kill Superman with a goddamn spear? What a stupid, stupid choice of weapon. Dalton takes out Wesley's knee, just kicks him in the knee, brings him onto the couch. He's about to, he's just wailing on him. Wesley's like, I thought it'd be fun to fight you, Dalton, but it's not. I'm gonna kill you the old-fashioned way. He goes for the gun again. Dalton kicks him on the chair. He goes to rip out Wesley's throat, but he hesitates. And I'm like, why the hell are you hesitating? You fucking killed Earring guy. You just murdered 20 henchmen. Why the fuck do you care about Wesley? He's the bad guy in this piece. Murder him. No, he doesn't. He lets him go. Doc shows up. Dalton, he lets Brad go. Brad grabs the gun again. He goes to shoot Dalton. But then, bang!
It's over!
Wesley got shot, right? Who shot him? It was Red. Red shot Brad Wesley. Right in the stomach. It's all bloody and there's a hole. Then Emmett shoots him. Then Car Guy shoots him. Don't know the Car Guy's name. Then Tillman shoots him. He got shot at fucking 4 times by all these people. And they're like, this is our town, Brad Wesley. You fucking die because we shot you fucking 5 times. And you're gonna bleed and you're gonna die. And Brad's dead. It's like a fucking hooray moment. It's like I said, this guy's bad. Let's name all the bad things he did. He's stealing money from people in the town. He beats his girlfriend. He kills people. He burns things. It's arson. He killed every animal ever in existence. Other bad things, I'm sure. Oh, he tried to bribe Dalton. That's extortion or some shit. He whores his girlfriend out. That's prostitution or pimping or something. He's a bad dude. Every fucking crime you can think of. They should have made him a pedophile, too. That'd make him even more of a villain. They saved the pedophile shit for Patrick Swayze and Donnie Darko.
My name is Jim Cunningham, and welcome to Controlling Fear.
Red gets rid of all the guns that they used to kill fucking Brad Wesley. He gets rid of all of them. The police arrive, and they're all like, what the fuck happened here? This guy's fucking dead, and looks like he was shot a goddamn dozen times. And all the townsfolk are like, we didn't see nothing. Did you see anything? And they're like, nope, I didn't see nothing. Did you see anything, Red? And Red's like, I didn't see nothing. What about you, Emmett? And Emmett's like, I didn't see anything. What about you, fat guy henchman? And the fat guy henchman just goes, polar bear fell on me.
You see anything, Tinker?
A
Polar bear fell on me.
And then we cut back to the Double Deuce, where the blind guy and his band, they're singing some song to end the movie or whatever. And we cut to Patrick Swayze and Doc, and they're swimming in the pond naked. And then we cut back to the Double Deuce, where the song's still going, and then the credits play. And it's like, wow, this movie's fucking amazing, ain't it? Alright, that was Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. I explained while drunk. I'm more drunk than normal, because this is like my fucking 8th one of these. I've had a lot. Well, what do you think? Have you seen Roadhouse before? What'd you think of it? I had never seen it, and I fucking love it. It's no good. It's not a good movie. It's a bad movie. But oh man, did I love this. This is right up my alley. It doesn't take itself serious. It's so silly and over the top. And also, I like Western movies. And this is just a Western with modern elements. And also, you see Patrick Swayze's ass. As always, I'm Bad Tracy for Punk Rock Blues. If you got any ideas for movies you want me to drunk explain, leave them down below. Otherwise, I got some more ideas. This was a one-off idea. I don't even own Roadhouse. I just was like, hi, I want to watch this, so I'll do this. Yeah. You can follow me on everything. Stardust, Instagram, Twitter, at BadTracy01. It's right there on the screen. My brother Lex, he's in that room there. You can follow him, Stardust Lex Doll, on Twitter at Idiot Doll, and on Instagram at Straight Edge Atheist Jerk. You can follow the channel as a whole on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Punk Rock Blues. And you can go the fuck over to our Patreon and pledge us $1 or $2. Patreon.com/punkrockblues. Give us $3 and your name will be in the credits like goddamn Burnsie is. That's cool. So, yeah. This was Roadhouse. Bye!
I get off at 2, and I just love to get you off about a half an hour after that.